Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to take a closer look at the Super Saiyan 4 Bardock and Super Saiyan 4 Gohan Awakenings that have just come out. Typically we've got Gohan on turn 1, Bardock is in slot 7, which means he will float around onto this rotation, but annoyingly I wanted these two Super Saiyan 3s to be the other rotation, so it's going to take a while to get the rotations fixed up the way that we want them to. But, I mean, we share some good links with the Super Saiyan 3 Gohan, so it's not too bad. 240k defense at the start of the turn. So, Gohan, 200% attack and defense, then he gets 50% damage reduction as long as you have 2 or more giant 8-power allies on the team. He gets an additional 50% defense and high chance to stun when performing a super, and he gets an additional 100% attack when there's another crossover ally attacking in the same turn. His super attack effect that he raises attack and defense for 1 turn. So obviously if he gets an additional, even more defense, he's one of those units where he's one of the few like good slot 1 units for the Heroes team. But the problem is that he does still get a lot of extra defense on super. So he has damage reduction, but he obviously doesn't have like guard. So if he's getting supered by, let's say, the Metal Cooler Core, where he has type disadvantage, if he's getting super attacked in slot 1 before he's able to get that extra defense, he probably is still taking a ridiculous amount of damage. I am going to go through all of the red zones with the new Heroes team setup, so I guess at some point I am going to come across that, but I'm trying to there's so many things to make videos on that we're still just trying to get all of these things out. I'm not going to do... I thought about showcasing these guys separately, but they are each other's best link partner, and like I would end up having to just do them twice. And we've already used Gohan in like the Cell Max video and stuff like that, so I thought this... But one of the reasons these two make such a good combo is that Gohan is the slot 1 unit, and then Bardock obviously doesn't really want to be in slot 1. Bardock, on the other hand, 200% attack and defense, gets 100% extra attack and defense when there's 2 or more crossover allies, and then he gets an additional 100% attack and defense when HP is 50% or more. So we have all of that at the start of the turn, which means he's getting 400% attack and defense. So he's starting off at 376k without a support unit on the rotation. That is pretty good, but then his super attack effect is that he raises attack and defense for 1 turn, which is a 30% buff. So he's going to be getting, what, like 120-ish? So he's going to be at like 500k defense, which is good as the raw number. But unfortunately, in the current meta, 500% defense with no like guard or damage reduction or anything means you are still getting absolutely blasted by the really difficult bosses. Now, we also do get crits guaranteed when HP is 90% or more, and type effective or super effective against all types when HP is 70% or more, and he has a medium chance to dodge if there's another giant 8-power ally on the turn. So when it comes to his hidden potential, I gave him a decent amount of additional, because another super would obviously mean A, another attack and defense raise, and B, just more damage, because if he's critting and being effective against all types, he can do a lot of damage. But then I put the rest into dodge, because it kind of seems pointless to give him crit, because on the turns where you have enough HP, he's getting guaranteed crit, or at least effective against all types, which is still good. So it kind of feels like putting lots of points into crit would potentially be a waste. But let's see. Oh, I should have left enough orbs for Gohan. He's potentially going to take a lot of damage at the end here, but let's see what happens. So Gohan in slot 1. Obviously, we still tank the normal attacks very nicely. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see if the physical guy super attacks him here. Okay. So Bardock, what have you got for us? 6.9. So basically 7 million. Both Gohan and Bardock don't have Shattering the Limit at level 10, because I link leveled them before this celebration. So they would be getting extra attack and defense a little bit. I think Bardock probably would have broken the next like million barrier for his super attack if we actually did have Shattering the Limit at level 10. In fact, let me double check. Let me bring them up here and see what they actually get. Right, that's Goku. What do they actually get with the links at this level? So Shattering the Limit at 6, it's 3% attack and defense. And then I think Bardock is at 4. Yeah, 4. So he's getting 1.5%. I mean, it's better than nothing, obviously. But yeah, I think that would push him over that next million like barrier if he was actually getting the the extra attack and defense from it being at level 10. So just another reason why the Link level update is, or was, so important. I gotta keep, like, remembering these things that have been in the game for a long time now, because I remember back when a lot of these things weren't in the game, and obviously they're not recent anymore. Things like the update, I think I mentioned it in a video not long ago, but it was like the fact that giant apes and like rage transformation and stuff a long time ago didn't use the hidden potential abilities of the character, so you couldn't get any additionals or crits or anything like that. And they changed that in an update, but that was a long time ago, so I always speak of it, it's like, oh yeah, they changed this thing not long ago, and it's like, actually, it was like years ago at this point. So, but anyway, this guy absorbs Ki Blast super attacks, which is pretty annoying. That doesn't count as one, which is cool. Double super for her is good as well, because she massively raises her defense. This Supreme Kai of Time is pretty good. Her defense here will be solid, and then she heals at the end of the turn in which she takes damage. So you see that we took double-digit damage and then healed to full health. So that is pretty good. So we can get this for you, grab these for you. So yeah, no support. I mean, Bardock being at that higher defense is pretty good. But the unfortunate thing is, like many of the heroes units, he does rely on being on this specific team, right? So you need 2 or more crossover allies for him to get that extra 100% attack and defense. And then you need a giant 8 power ally in the turn for him to be able to dodge. So, obviously, one of the things I've done on the channel quite a few times, every time a new Bardock comes out, or Bardock units get upgrades, is to do the all Bardock team, which way back in the day, when I made the very first version of it, it was like Mars Saiyan was the leader, because he's an all-types leader. Now, on JP, they obviously have the new tech Bardock. When he comes out on Global, it's going to be, that's when I'm going to redo that team, because doing it now, like, we don't have the easy A's for like the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 Bardock and stuff like that, so they'll be pretty terrible. But the Super Saiyan Bardocks are on crossover, so if you run this guy on the Bardock team, he is at least going to be getting that extra 100% attack and defense. He's just not going to get the medium chance to dodge, which unfortunately, as we've already talked about, I guess unless they give Tech Grey 8 Bardock an easy A and make him actually runnable, because otherwise you would not run him on the team. The AGL free-to-play one, I think, is probably better than the Tech summonable one, because he does at least have an easy A, but he's not runnable either in like super difficult content. So maybe when he gets one you could. But unfortunately, that is STR Bardock's only like defensive tech, that he has the 30% chance to dodge. So if you have him on rotation without a giant 8 power ally, then he doesn't even have that. So, I mean, his raw defense number is going to be nice and high, but he's just not going to have any sort of way to survive these really hard-hitting boss like super attacks and stuff. So now that we've got support on the rotation, Bardock is going to be looking pretty good here. Gohan should tank this quite nicely, but again, it's pre-super. If he gets to attack first, that becomes double-digit damage. But all things considered, though, as well, considering how well Gohan does tank, because he gets that extra attack buff when there's a crossover ally in the same turn, 6 million attack stat is pretty good for a unit that is basically tanking, like, everything. And you see there, with the super effective and crit, we are able to do a lot of damage to Oceanus, even though she is an AGL unit. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the difference, right? Bardock only put up an attack stat that was like almost 2 million higher than Gohan. Now, obviously, the guaranteed crit and the effective against all types does make a pretty big difference to the overall amount of damage that that attack actually did. But it's funny when you think that Gohan's attack stat was only as far behind Bardock as it was, whilst at the same time Gohan is way better defensively than Bardock. So out of the two, when it comes to building a team with the limit breakers to like make a hero's team to actually beat some of the more difficult content and stuff, Gohan is definitely one of the top picks for the team. But unfortunately, it feels like Bardock really isn't. Especially when it comes to Broly, because Broly cancels dodge, so he cancels out his only defensive tech. And then in the final phase, where he hits the hardest, he's got type advantage over Bardock. So Bardock is probably the worst unit to bring on like the Super Saiyan 4 like selection against Broly. I mean, I guess to be fair, like Vegeto's aged out quite badly now. So has Broly, even though he has type advantage. I might do a 200% leader skill video for Super Saiyan 4 Broly. He has aged badly, but I guess he might get an easy A next year if Vegito does as well. Now, this is a bad rotation for Bardock because he is sealed. And he gets that 30%. I guess to be fair, he only is getting the super attack buff. All of the rest of his stats are start of turn. So he is still rocking nearly 400k defense. But again, like this stage, that should be fine. Although he actually still might die to a super. But yeah, against like tougher bosses, units like him, like he really wants that extra. He wants as much extra defense as possible, really. So him getting sealed is definitely not ideal. What's Gohan going to do here for the Dokkan attack? With no support, he's still at 5.3 million, which is pretty good. But obviously, Gohan's not there to do damage. When it comes to hidden potential, Gohan does raise attack and defense for 1 turn on Super, so giving him some additional would obviously be good. But then, honestly, I think you want to go for the rest dodge, because he doesn't need to be hit at all. Like, he doesn't build up or anything like that. And then he doesn't really need to crit because he's not on the team to do damage. Like, you don't, when you build your team, you don't put Gohan on the team to be a damage dealer. You put Gohan on the team to be a tank. So additional is a good option because at least an additional super increases his own defense. But giving him any crit, I feel like, is kind of pointless because him critting, yeah, he's going to do a bit of extra damage, which is good, but he's not, that's not his role, right? You didn't bring him on the team to deal damage. So will we kill this guy this turn? Because he sealed Supreme Kai of Time, which is really unfortunate considering she gets like all of her all of her defense on super attack. So let's do this. Do this. I mean, Gohan got all of his orbs. Gohan should be looking pretty good here. I might do a separate video for him, although I think this is probably the rotation I would run anyway with the Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku. But he's now got a 200% lead because, of course, he doesn't have Kamehameha, so he wasn't on the God's 200% lead before. But he's got decent start of turn attack and defense, gets a big chunk when performing a super, and then we get extra with picking up certain amounts of orbs. We get built-in crit chance, damage reduction. So again, he's a unit that I guess if you are picking up the orbs, he doesn't really need any crit either. But yeah, he might be looking pretty good here. It'll be interesting to see with the support what he does. Because he has 200k defense. He's getting 70% on super from his passive. I guess that makes his defense not really that high. Even with the damage reduction, it means his defense isn't really going to be that high overall. But he's still an interesting unit. Against like tough tech bosses, he could be pretty decent. But that small amount of damage reduction coupled with the low defense that he has, he's probably not going to be an option for tough, especially tough physical bosses. 7.4 million attack though. I mean, considering his Easy A is a year old now, that's definitely not bad. And of course we didn't kill. 258. Okay. Well, now this is interesting because, oh well, he's not getting attacked now. I was going to say this is a turn where Bardock is not going to have his guaranteed crit and effective against all types. So, I mean, he's still able to hit the same kind of attack stat. He's just not getting that extra, like damage tech, I guess, as opposed to defensive tech, like critting and super effective against all types. He'll still do solid damage, but I mean, the thing is, now that Gohan actually does pretty respectable attack stats, we keep seeing a lot of these rotations where the enemy is quite close to death, and Gohan's actually able to finish him off by himself. So that's what kind of separates him from units like say, for example, AGL Golden Frieza. Like, AGL Golden Frieza obviously is a better tank, but when you have AGL Golden Frieza in slot 1 on a turn, chances are he's not going to be finishing off the enemy, right? Because he's quite low damage-wise. I should have bought Princess Snake. I completely forgot and had left it as a Whis. Because that would have not only kept us solid for this turn, but healed us enough to get Bardock's abilities available next turn as well. That is unfortunate. There is a possibility that we die this turn, especially if we get supered by Super Saiyan, on Super Saiyan 3 Gohan. But I guess we'll see. If we get to see one more turn, then cool. But I just wanted to do this video to get a bit more of a deep dive on Gohan and Bardock, because I'm going to use them on teams. I'm doing a bunch of challenge runs, doing the Heroes team versus the different red zones and stuff like that. So these guys will be popping up on a bunch of videos. And because so many new units all came out at the same time, it just feels really difficult to be able to do individual showcases on all of them. Plus the fact that, you know, with the private server and stuff like that, people like showcases have been up for these guys for like days already now. So I wanted to have a good look at them together. But yeah, Goku, of course, getting supered in the final slot when there's no no Vegeta, no Saiyan Raw. Not the best rotation for him, but there you go. So the Heroes team is very fun. It is definitely a good team, but it requires a lot of RNG. Like, for people that were there when I was trying to stream and we were doing Heroes versus the OG Red Zone stages, the ones that we were able to do but that were quite a struggle, it kind of reminds me of that kind of thing, right? Like, the team is good, and the team now does have a lot more damage outputting units and stuff like that, but there is a certain level of RNG involved, certain team builds. I mean, this team was built literally just to showcase Bardock and Gohan, so Goku on that turn, where he got super attacked, was definitely not in his best environment, wasn't fully built up, but it is what it is. So let me know what you guys think about Bardock and Gohan. Which one is your favourite? I'm sure for most people it probably is Gohan. He probably is the most valuable out of the two to run on teams, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.